Good evening again. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you tonight. When Brother Stephen initially asked me to give this reflection, he made the mistake of telling me that it could be about anything that I wanted to talk about. And so immediately, my mind went to every idea for theology on tap talk that I've ever had. And so after weeks of prayerfully considering whether you'd be more edified by my thoughts on Kanye West's spiritual canticles or the entire Tolkien legendarium, I decided to focus on All Saints' Day and on All Saints' Day and on holiness rather than All Falls Down and The Hobbit. Seeing that All Saints' Day is kind of a big deal and holiness is our universal calling, there are obviously a lot of things that I could say about them. For the sake of brevity, though, I'll set aside most of these things and focus on the following question: what does holiness look like? Since we're looking to see what holiness looks like, there's no better place to start than the Gospels. In the Gospels, holiness becomes flesh and takes many forms. Holiness looks like a young woman who gets pregnant out of wedlock and says, "Be it done unto me according to your word." It looks like a stepfather who sacrifices everything to bring his family to a safer country. It looks like a few wise guys who bring the Son of God some birthday presents and then go home by another way. It looks like a wild dude who lives out in the desert and eats nothing but locusts and honey. Looks like a fisherman who has a lot of heart but not much of a filter, kind of like Brother Stephen. It looks like a pagan who picks up a dying man off the side of the road. Looks like a shepherd who gives up his life for his sheep. Looks like a tax collector who dares not to raise his eyes to heaven. It looks like a bleeding woman who believes that she can be healed. Looks like a heartbroken sister who says, "If only you had been here, Lord." Looks like a poor widow who gives her last penny away. Looks like an adulteress who finds living water and runs back home to tell everybody about it. Looks like a prostitute who washes God's feet with her tears. Looks like a convicted criminal who cries out for the kingdom. Looks like a mother who stands by her son to the bitter end. Looks like a rich man who lends his tomb to a close friend. And it looks like a soldier who sees everything and says, "Truly, this is the Son of God." If the Gospels don't turn our notions of holiness on their head and help us to see things in a new light, spending some time in Southeast Washington, D.C. just might. In Southeast, you see holiness looks like a recovering alcoholic sometimes, who knows the Bible like the back of his hand, but can't afford to go to church on Sunday. Looks like an old lady living in the hood who sells loose cigarettes during the day and watches Jimmy Swaggart at night. It looks like a black woman wearing an Obama shirt who has lost her hair, lost her teeth, and lost her son, but has not lost her faith. It looks like a homeless person who sleeps under the L Street Bridge and uses what little money she has to send bug spray, loose change, wax cubes, and a photocopy of her favorite devotional to a friend. It looks like a grandmother who has buried several sons over the years, but who still believes that she is highly blessed and highly favored. It looks like a woman living on Southern Avenue who can't afford to bury her son or fix her truck, but wants to have a Bible study anyways. And it looks like a bunch of missionaries who move into the neighborhood and allow themselves to be moved by it. Well, if holiness looks like this, or anything like this, then I think that kind of begs the question, what does heaven look like? What does heaven, which is full of holy people, look like? Since I haven't been to heaven, I can't say for sure. That being said, it's pretty safe to say that heaven will be full of surprises. In a short story entitled Revelation, Flannery O'Connor suggests that heaven will not only be full of surprises, but it will be full of people who surprise us. As O'Connor describes it, heaven is anything but a prim and proper place where I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and well-behaved Catholics go to retire. Hearkening back to Revelation chapter 7 and the story of Jacob's ladder, O'Connor envisions a vast horde of souls rumbling toward heaven, whole companies of white trash, clean for the first time in their lives, and bands of black folks in white robes, and battalions of freaks and lunatics, shouting and clapping and leaping like frogs. At the end of this vast horde of souls, O'Connor sees a tribe of people who, if I'm being honest here, look a lot like you and me. As everyone else is busy shouting and clapping and leaping like frogs, this tribe of good country people is carefully marching behind the others with great dignity, accountable as they have always been for good order and common sense and respectable behavior. While everyone else is singing their hearts out, these folks are more concerned with singing on key. In a world full of people who are doing things wrong, these are the ones who do things right. Taken at face value, these are Catholics in good standing. These are good Christian people. But at the end of the day, O'Connor says, even their virtues, even their holiness will be burned away as they pass through the field of living fire and into the ecstatic joy of the saints in heaven.